Hey millennials, did you watch the Bow Wow Tiny Desk? Now I watched it, but I didn't watch it on BET because I don't have BET. I watched it on NPR. And the other day, actually, I was doing my hair. And I just got another shower. I was detangling and all that. And I was listening to a bunch of, actually, I was watching the music videos, but I was listening to a bunch of Bow Wow's hits from back in the day. And it just reminded me as millennial that Bow Wow is who he thinks he is, and Bow Wow is who we think he is, and Bow Wow is that guy. He's a GOAT. And I know a lot of people don't think that, and I know a lot of people think Bow Wow is corny, and I know a lot of people don't understand the impact that Bow Wow had on millennials back in the day. But honestly, like, a lot of us millennials, we either were born in the late 80s to early 90s, and we were starting to grow up in the early 2000s. So we were either kids slash preteens at that time. And so we needed some music that was going to be, as they say, kid friendly. And as a kid rapper, Bow Wow did his thing, okay? Did he write his music? No. But we don't care because we're kids. So we don't really care if Bow Wow wrote his music. The fact that he could rap the way he was rapping, the fact that he could, be in music videos with older people, right? Like, he was in music videos with people who were on his label, So Def, JD's label, with people like Da Brat, with people like Jagged Edge, with people like Escape. And that was a whole big deal, right? It was a whole big deal. And, the fact that he had, movies out like Mike, and he was in movies like Johnson's Family Vacation, and he did movies like Roll Bounce. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. And his music was just so like kid slash teen friendly, and it was just so like music we needed at that time, right? Talking about things that were just kid friendly, fun, cool, and like didn't sound corny, and like were music that could be played on a regular R&B or hip hop station without being corny or sounding corny or like people thinking that it's lame. Now I know there were people who thought it was lame because he was young and he was whatever, and he didn't write his music, and could you really call it rapping, and could you really call it him a rapper, and all these things. But for us millennials, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And then you had the Scream tour, and you had like all of these different things, and he was always going number one for this, that, or the third, and it was just a big deal. It was just a huge deal. And like, I know over the years Bow Wow has done some corny things. I'm not gonna say he hasn't, but at the end of the day, he's done some incredible things during the millennium, okay? And so you have to give him his props, okay? You really, really do. And for us millennials, he means a lot to us. He really, really does. And so watching his Tiny Desk was really special. I wish it was a little bit longer. Personally, he did not do one of my favorite songs, which is Take You Home, because that used to be my favorite song when I was a kid of Bow Wow's. But he did do Or Bounce With Me. And he also did Out of My System. And of course, Let Me Love You. And of course, he did like all the hits. I ain't never had nobody show me all the things you could show me in a special way as you. When you hold me, you can always be together, baby. That's what you do. And I believe it, because I ain't never had nobody do me like you. He did all the hits. And it was really, really, really awesome to see him in like a room where you think about Tiny Desk, and you think about it in a way where it's like all of these like indie artists, all of these like really like established artists, all of these like avant-garde artists, and then there's Bow Wow. And the fact that he was able to be on Tiny Desk rapping his hits meant a lot to me as a millennial, and as a black millennial too, that meant something to me, okay? Even when Bow Wow back in, I think it was like 2022 or 2023, no, it was like 2021 or 2022, when he did his verses against Soulja Boy, that was a millennial time, okay? Because it was Soulja Boy and it was Bow Wow, two millennial icons who really changed the game when it came to a lot of things in the millennium. And I just have to give him a lot of props because he is still out here really performing super well. I've never seen him on tour yet, but from what I hear, and I've seen in clips, he is really still performing like he's, still like 13 years old. He remembers all his lyrics. He's out here really rapping, and it's all so great, and I just absolutely love it. So I just think that Bow Wow needs his flowers more. You know what I mean? Because he really gave a platform for young kids to listen to age appropriate music from an age appropriate rapper when we were kids. And I think that was important. You know what I mean? And, nowadays kids just don't have that. Okay? But, back then we really had a wide variety, not even just Bow Wow, but we had a wide variety of different artists who were age appropriate, making age appropriate music, having fun. Bow Wow, say what you want, but Romeo too, okay? We had Sammy, we had a bunch of artists back then, and it was just fun. Happy music. And even before that, we had like Criss Cross and even Raven when she was like really little. So yeah, back in the day we used to have age appropriate music for age appropriate kids, and now we just don't have that. And I really think that Bow Wow was one of the best to do it, because it was, in some people's mind, corny, but in a lot of ways it was music that could be played on the actual radio with other artists, like actual artists, you know what I mean? Not just on like Radio Disney or like Nickelodeon or something. So I always thought that was really awesome. And also shout out to Shad Moss, the actor, because he was really killing it back in the day. Okay, I really think, and I know some people have said this, that Bow Wow / Shad Moss is actually better at acting than rapping, and that's up for debate. I love him in both ways, but his acting is incredible, okay? Specifically in Roll Bounce, because that's one of my favorite movies. And then he was really, really good in Like Mike, of course, and Johnson's Family Vacation. He was hilarious in that. Lottery Ticket, and then, of course, Medea's Big Happy Family. So, yeah, Shad Moss is just really that guy. And I need people to remember that more. And I need people to give him his flowers more. So, The Tiny Desk was awesome. And, yeah, we need to give Bow Wow his flowers more for being incredible.